Have you ever wondered why she can walk away from you without looking back, without a hint of regret, while you're left shattered, questioning everything? It feels unreal, doesn't it? One day she's in your arms, whispering promises, making you believe you're her entire world, and the next day she's gone cold, detached, like you never mattered. You replay the moments in your head, searching for answers, asking yourself, did she ever care? Was it all fake? How can she be so emotionless? The brutal truth is this: most women don't leave when they stop loving you. They leave long before that, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. By the time she physically walks out, she's already rehearsed that exit 100 times in her head. That's why you see no regret. The grief you're experiencing, she went through it months ago while still lying beside you. Picture this: she's pulling away. Her texts get shorter, her voice loses warmth, her touch feels like obligation. She doesn't fight anymore, not because she's at peace, but because she's already checked out. And you thought the silence meant things were okay, when in reality it meant she had stopped investing in you. That's the first trap men fall into. You believe her withdrawal is temporary. You think she just needs space. But silence, indifference, emotional absence, these are not pauses, these are exits. By the time you notice them, it's already too late. Here's the strategy shift you need to understand. Regret doesn't come to her because in her mind, she's been preparing. She slowly detached while you kept chasing, begging, overinvesting. Every time you tried harder, you confirmed her power. She learned she could step back and you'd step forward. She could stop giving and you'd give more. And that imbalance killed her respect for you. Respect dies before love dies, and once respect is gone, regret never follows. Think about the moments when she tested you. Maybe she ignored your call. Maybe she cancelled plans last minute. Maybe she suddenly became distant. Instead of pulling back yourself, instead of letting her wonder where you stand, you doubled down. You asked what was wrong. You chased for reassurance. You gave her exactly what she wanted: control. And once she had control, she stopped seeing you as the man she once admired. She started seeing you as predictable, dependent, weak. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Women may say they want a man who never gives up, who fights for love, but biologically, psychologically, attraction doesn't work that way. The more you chase, the less she values. The more you beg, the less she desires. The more you plead for her to stay, the easier it is for her to leave. Here's a tactical breakdown. The next time she withdraws, don't chase, don't panic, don't demand an explanation. Match her energy with calm indifference. If she texts less, you text less. If she pulls away, you lean back. If she cancels, you don't reschedule. That silence that feels unbearable, it's your weapon. Because silence flips the script. Suddenly, she's forced to question her own importance in your life. Suddenly, she's the one wondering if you've checked out. That's how you stop her from leaving with no regret, by never giving her the comfort of knowing you'll always be there no matter how she treats you. Let me give you a real example. A man once told me his girlfriend began ignoring him for days at a time. He responded with long, emotional paragraphs, begging for clarity, apologizing for things he didn't even do. Do you know what she said after reading his messages? I just don't feel it anymore. Why? Because his desperation validated her detachment. But imagine if he had responded differently. Imagine if he had said nothing. If instead of chasing, he focused on himself, went to the gym, spent time with friends, disappeared from her radar. Suddenly, she would feel the shift. She would feel the loss of attention she had taken for granted. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when regret forms. But once she leaves knowing you were dependent, regret doesn't exist. She sees you as the man who couldn't stand alone. You want to stop being the man women leave without regret. Then stop being predictable. Stop being available at any cost. Stop rewarding withdrawal with more effort. Make her feel the consequence of pulling away. Not through anger, not through revenge, but through absence, through indifference, through the quiet message that says, I don't chase what doesn't value me. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever kept giving more attention, more effort, more love, hoping she would finally appreciate it, only to watch her drift further away? Have you ever begged for clarity from a woman who had already stopped caring? Which mistake do you see yourself making the most, chasing too hard, giving too much, or ignoring the signs of her detachment? Be honest in the comments. She doesn't feel regret, because regret only comes when you lose something you still valued. By the time she leaves, she doesn't see value anymore. She's convinced herself she's already outgrown you, and here's the twisted part many times. She didn't outgrow you because you lacked anything. She outgrew you because you stopped challenging her. You stopped being the man she first admired, the man who was focused, centered, and scarce with his attention. You turned into the man who gave endlessly, without limit, and therefore without value. When everything about you became predictable, her desire died quietly, and when desire dies, regret never lives. You probably remember those early days when she looked at you like you were her world. Every text you sent mattered. Every word you spoke carried weight. She used to dress up for you, light up when you entered the room, lean in close because she couldn't get enough. But what happened? You shifted from being the man she wanted to win over to being the man who tried endlessly to keep her. That shift is the silent death of attraction. She didn't regret leaving because, in her mind, she wasn't leaving the man she fell for. She was leaving the version of you that begged, bent, and broke to keep her satisfied. That's the raw truth men avoid. Think about it. When was the last time you truly held back? When was the last time she had to wonder what you were thinking, or what you were doing, or whether she was good enough for you? Most men make the fatal mistake of erasing all mystery once they feel comfortable. They give constant validation. They text good morning and good night every single day. They pour their energy into reassurance instead of direction. And over time, she stops needing to earn you. When she stops needing to earn you, she stops valuing you. And when she stops valuing you, she can walk away without hesitation. Here's the tactical application you must learn: controlled distance. Controlled distance is not neglect, and it's not cruelty. It's the art of staying centered in your own world even when you're with her. It's maintaining the same focus on your goals, your purpose, your friends, your health, your discipline. It's not telling her every detail of your life, not making her your emotional diary, not giving her the sense that you're an open book she's already read cover to cover. Controlled distance creates tension. It keeps her invested. It keeps her respect alive. And respect is what ties her to you long after the initial passion fades. I'll give you an example. A man I knew was dating a woman who constantly tested him by pulling back emotionally. Instead of chasing, he mirrored her. If she cancelled plans, he didn't get upset, he simply made other plans. If she took hours to reply, he didn't bombard her with texts. He replied casually when he had time, and slowly, she realized she wasn't in full control. She began to reinvest, to put in effort again, because she feared losing him. That's the paradox. The less you chase, the more she comes forward. The moment you overinvest, she calculates that you'll never leave, and that's when she finds it easy to walk away without regret. The emotional cost to you is huge when you ignore this truth. You carry the heartbreak while she carries nothing. She doesn't feel guilt because she didn't experience the sudden loss you did. You feel like your world collapsed in a single moment. She feels like she finally executed a plan she had been building quietly. That's why it seems so easy for her. That's why she can smile in pictures, laugh with friends, and even date someone new while you're still struggling to breathe. It's not that she's stronger, it's that she was gone long before you realized. If you want to protect yourself, you must start recognizing the signs of detachment early. Watch for the shift in energy when her eyes don't light up, when her responses lose curiosity, when she stops testing you for your strength. That's not peace, it's absence. And when you see it, you cannot fight harder. Fighting harder only accelerates the end. You must step back. You must recalibrate. You must force her to feel your absence instead of drowning her in your presence. That's the discipline most men lack. But that discipline is the difference between being the man she regrets losing and the man she forgets the moment she walks out. Now I'll ask you, have you ever felt blindsided by a breakup, only to realize later that she had been detaching for months? Did you ever keep fighting harder when she was already gone inside? Which moment do you remember most, the first time she pulled away? Or the moment you realized you had no power? Share your story below. The part that stings the most is how easily she seems to move on. You're sitting there, broken, asking yourself if you ever meant anything. Meanwhile, she's posting pictures with friends, laughing, maybe even already talking to someone new. It feels cruel, almost inhuman. But here's the truth you need to absorb. Women are masters at emotional preparation. She didn't leave you when she walked out the door, she left you the moment she stopped imagining a future with you. That mental shift happened long before you noticed. That's why she feels nothing now. Her tears were shed in silence months ago. Her decision was rehearsed in her mind again and again until there was no hesitation left. You're grieving today. She grieved while still lying in your bed. And that's the devastating psychological trap for men. You mistake her physical presence for emotional presence. You see her body next to you, so you assume she's still there. But women leave long before they leave. Her eyes tell the truth. Her silence tells the truth. Her lack of curiosity about your day. Her indifference when you speak. Her short answers, these are exits disguised as ordinary behavior. And because you didn't catch them, you were caught off guard. That's why your pain feels raw while she looks calm. So how do you prevent this? By refusing to ignore those signals. By refusing to be the man who explains away her indifference. If she stops laughing at your jokes, don't force more. If she stops calling, don't chase. If she looks distant, don't compensate with extra love. Because every time you overcompensate, you teach her she doesn't need to care anymore. You teach her that her absence still gets rewarded with your presence. That's the fatal mistake, trying to win her back with more investment when she has already stopped valuing you. The only way to break that cycle is to withhold. You must let her feel the cost of pulling away. You must show her, without words, that your presence is conditional on her effort. Otherwise, you become background noise, a man always there, no matter what. Easy to leave and easier to forget. Here's the tactical play: indifference. Not fake indifference. Not a performance meant to trick her, but real indifference born from self-respect. If she doesn't text you back for hours, don't react emotionally, don't punish, don't demand, don't explain, just move on with your day. If she cancels, you don't try to reschedule, you let the silence stand. If she pulls back affection, you don't try to pry it out of her, you match her energy and you keep moving. The beauty of indifference is that it forces the truth out. If she cares, she'll come forward again. If she doesn't, then you saved yourself months of slow torture. Either way, you win. Let me tell you a story. A man I spoke with once told me about his ex. She started going cold, texts became dry, affection faded. Instead of matching her energy, he panicked. He sent flowers to her office, wrote her long messages about how much she meant to him, and begged for her to talk. Her response: She ghosted him for a week and then told him, "I think I've fallen out of love." That's the brutal cost of chasing. But contrast that with another man I knew. His girlfriend began pulling back, testing his reaction. Instead of chasing, he didn't change his routine. He stayed busy. He didn't question her silence. He didn't ask what was wrong. She eventually came back with, "Why don't you seem bothered by me? Do you see the difference?" One man gave her no reason to regret leaving. The other made her question if leaving was a mistake. That's the entire game: who holds their center when the other pulls away. And here's the cold reality: if you don't learn to hold your center, you will always be the man women leave without regret. Because regret only comes when a woman feels she lost something rare, something difficult to replace. If you are too available, too predictable, too easy, she knows she can find another version of you tomorrow. But if you are scarce, disciplined, unshaken, she knows walking away carries a cost. That cost creates hesitation. That hesitation creates regret. And regret is the one emotion that can flip the script after a breakup. So let me ask you, have you ever been the man who poured in more effort when she gave less? Have you ever felt her indifference and tried to buy back her affection with gifts, words, or time only to watch her leave without looking back? Or have you ever been the man who stayed calm, who didn't chase, and saw her come running back because she felt the silence? Which role do you recognize yourself in? Share your truth in the comments. Here's the harshest truth of all: she doesn't regret leaving because you gave her no reason to. Not because you weren't good enough, not because you lacked value, but because you showed her that your entire identity rested on keeping her. And when a man makes a woman the center of his existence, she begins to see him as replaceable. Think about it: if your whole world revolves around her, what separates you from the countless other men who would do the same? What makes you rare? What makes you untouchable? Nothing. That's why she walks away so easily. She knows she can find another man who will bend over backwards just like you did. But what she can't easily find, the man she never forgets, is the one who could love her deeply yet still walk away if she disrespected him. The cost to you is unbearable when you don't understand this. You suffer because you believe she was your entire world. You see her absence as the end of your story instead of a chapter. That mindset is why men spiral after breakups, because you placed all your worth in her validation, and when she leaves, you feel worthless. But here's where the shift happens: the moment you stop making her your validation source, the moment you stop needing her approval to feel alive, you become untouchable. You stop being the man women leave without regret, and you start being the man women regret leaving. Because regret is born when a woman realizes she lost something she cannot control, cannot fully possess, cannot bend to her will. Regret is born when she knows she'll never find that balance of strength and love again. So let's break it down into tactical clarity. If she starts pulling away, what do you do? Step 1, you don't chase. Step 2, you evaluate. Is this a temporary mood swing, or is this the early stages of detachment? If it's a test, she's watching your reaction, fail by panicking, and you hand her control, pass by staying calm, and she feels your strength. If it's real detachment, you don't waste time begging you match her distance. You let her feel the cost of pulling back. That's how you protect yourself. That's how you shift the dynamic. By refusing to overinvest, you make her either reinvest or reveal her true intentions. Either way, you win your clarity faster. Here's a story that drives it home. A man I once knew was dating a woman who started disrespecting him, subtly cancelling on him last minute, talking down to him in front of friends, ignoring his messages for hours. He confronted her, but not with pleading. He said, calmly, "I don't chase disrespect. If you're in, show me. If you're out, stay out." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He didn't explain endlessly. He simply laid out his standard and lived by it. She froze. Why? Because she wasn't expecting him to have boundaries. Most men crumble under pressure, but he stood firm. And guess what? She came back with more effort, because in that moment, she realized losing him meant losing a man she couldn't replace. That's what creates regret. Boundaries create regret. Weakness erases it. Now contrast that with the men who beg, cry, and plead. Those men become memories she erases quickly, not because she's heartless, but because she sees them as boys, not men. A boy clings. A man can let go. And when she realizes she can't shake him, she loses respect. Once respect is gone, love is irrelevant. She may stay for convenience, but the attraction is dead. And when she finally leaves, she leaves with relief, not regret. That's the outcome you must avoid at all costs. Here's your practical challenge. Start setting boundaries now. Not when she's leaving, not when you're desperate, but right now. What behaviors cross your line? What will you never tolerate? No matter how much you love her, write them down, practice them, and when the test comes, and it will, you hold your ground. Because the man who can enforce boundaries is the man who keeps respect alive. And the man who keeps respect alive is the one women can't forget. So I'll leave you with this. Have you ever been too forgiving when she disrespected you, hoping she'd change? Have you ever lowered your standards just to keep her around, only to have her leave anyway? Or have you ever held firm, set a boundary, and watched her suddenly change her tune because she realized she could actually lose you? Which one feels truer to your story? Write it in the comments. And now we reach the deepest cut, the moment you realize her lack of regret is not really about her. It's about you. It's about the version of yourself you showed her. She doesn't feel regret because she saw every ounce of your value given away too cheaply. You kept proving yourself when you didn't need to. You kept apologizing when you weren't wrong. You kept chasing when she pulled back. And in doing so, you taught her that your love was not sacred, it was desperate. The truth is, people only regret losing what feels rare. And you stopped being rare the moment you gave her everything without making her earn anything. That's the brutal, liberating reality. You were not left because you lacked love. You were left because you lacked scarcity. This is why women can move on so coldly. They don't feel like they lost something irreplaceable. They believe they lost a man who gave too much and demanded too little. And that man, in their mind, can be found again. But here's the turning point, the day you become the man who knows his worth, who withholds as much as he gives, who doesn't fear walking away. That's the day regret becomes inevitable. Because that man is not easily found. That man is not easily replaced. That man is not easily forgotten. Think of it this way: if a woman leaves you today and feels no regret, let that pain carve a lesson into your skin. Never again give everything up front. Never again beg for love. Never again confuse availability with strength. Women respect what they have to earn, not what they are handed freely. Your silence, your absence, your standards, these are the weapons that shift the balance. They are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of self-protection. They are how you stop becoming disposable. The man who can walk away with dignity is the man who is always remembered. Even if she doesn't come back, she will carry that imprint with her. That's the kind of man women whisper about when they say, "I messed up letting him go." So how do you hardwire this into your life first? You stop negotiating with disrespect. If she cancels last minute, you don't rearrange your life, you keep moving. If she ignores your calls, you don't chase, you let the silence speak. If she tests your boundaries, you don't explain endlessly, you show her with your actions what you tolerate and what you don't. Second, you rebuild your identity outside of her. Hit the gym not for her approval, but because strength is your baseline. Build your career not to impress her, but because purpose is what grounds you. Strength and purpose create magnetism, and magnetism creates respect. And third, you never again allow fear of losing her to override the standard you live by. Because here's the paradox: the less you fear losing her, the less likely she is to leave. Women don't regret leaving a man who clings. They regret leaving a man who stands tall, even alone. Picture this final scene. She walks away, expecting you to crumble, but you don't. You don't beg. You don't plead. You don't drown her in words. You nod. You let her go. And you keep moving forward with silent power. That moment echoes in her mind for years, because while she thought she could break you, she discovered she was wrong. That's the seed of regret. That's what haunts her when she's with someone else who gives too much. That's what makes her think twice when she sees you thriving without her. Regret doesn't come from losing a man's love. It comes from losing a man's respect, his strength, his quiet certainty. And when you embody that, you stop being the man women forget, and you become the man they never stop remembering. So here's the final truth: she didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect. And now that you know it, you never have to be that man again. You can walk into every relationship with the clarity that you are not afraid to leave, that you will not tolerate disrespect, that your love is valuable because it is not given to everyone. That's the man women regret losing. That's the man you must become. Now I'll ask you directly, have you ever let fear of losing her push you into giving more than you should? Have you ever felt her slip away while you held on tighter, only to realize it made her leave faster? And can you imagine how different things would feel if, next time, you let go first? Drop your truth in the comments.